Today, I got this package in the mail, and it should be full of ants. So I have received ants from this seller, AtlanticAnts, before, and I've noticed that his packaging is always very well done, but I never seem to figure it out on the first time. So I'm going to speed this clip up a bit, because this is going to take me a while before I actually figure this out. And if you didn't notice here, you can see a little bit of movement, so they are definitely alive in there. Wow, that's a lot of padding. I take a moment here to grab a bag to put all this padding in. And right here, I noticed that there are 2 test tubes in here. So I ordered a colony of Castaneus, and you see here my surprise, because I ordered a colony of Castaneus and Nearticus, and I got 2 colonies of Nearticus. And this was on purpose. So, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And this is the colony of Castaneus in a arthropod antics form aquarium. I have been wanting to get one of these nests for a while. I'm really excited to use this nest. Once again, the packing job that AtlanticAnts uses on his test tubes and this nest is really awesome, so it takes me a while to open it up. And now I have to slide the nest out of the wrap, and it's really tight. It fits perfectly. So yeah, just amazing packaging. The colony was much bigger than what I ordered, and I was very pleasantly surprised. But they were a bit shocked that I opened their nest up. And now for the 2 Nearticus colonies. Yeah, here we go. These are, once again, very well packaged, so even my extremely sharp knife is having a hard time to get through that packaging. And I know that you can't see it very well what it says on that test tube, but it says free colony since the one you bought is doing very well. So yeah, I'm very happy, and they have some pupa. A little backstory on this colony. AtlanticAnts dried up this colony, so only the majors and the queen survived. But the queen already had some eggs, which she probably laid during shipping. So yeah, they're doing very well. And here you see me preparing some blue tack, which actually came securing the test tubes, and a biformica liquid feeder and some sugar water to feed to the Camponotus when I give them a DIY outworld. And right here is a DIY outworld. And I'm really, really proud of how the lid for it turned out. I made that custom coat of arms for the colony, and I really like it. And there's the outworld. So now I'm going to go ahead and fill up that biformica feeder. For some reason, I always find this part so incredibly satisfying. Just filling it up with the pipette. I don't know why, but I hope you do too. So I've been wanting to get Camponotus Castaneus for probably since I started ant keeping, so that's several years. And it's honestly really exciting to have a colony that we know the queen is fertile, because I've had many, many queens in test tube setups, and none of them were fertile. And actually, one of them was fertile, but her pupa randomly died. And afterwards, I did a dissection, and there was a fully developed worker in the pupa, but apparently just couldn't eclose. So right now I'm adding a little bit of the blue tack to the bottom of the biformica feeder to stick it down to the outworld, but this blue tack isn't as sticky as I thought it would be, so it didn't quite work, and I later just removed it because I didn't want it to tear off the sand from the grout. So you're gonna kind of see that I'm kind of indecisive here. I originally wanted to connect the long tubing to the actual nest, but in a couple seconds here, you're gonna see me cut the long tubing to make it a little shorter, because I heard that the ants really didn't like the arthropod antics outworld, which AtlanticAnts connected them to. So I wanted to make it as easy as it could be for them to get to the outworld. But later I'd use the little cut-off piece and connect it to an Ants Canada L connector. I like those because they're clear, but I don't really support Ants Canada after his Carpenter Ant Arena video. In any case, you're gonna see that first of all I cut it off, then I try to fit that piece of tubing to see like what the size is, and there's the L connector that I'm going to use. But I fit a piece of tubing to check what the size was, and I thought that this, I believe it's 3/8 inch tubing was the right size, but afterwards when I actually connected it, it was not the right size, so I ended up kind of sealing it with some blue tack, and the ants were, well, a great thing about Camponotus is that they can't fit through tiny spaces, so it worked fine. As you'll see later, they foraged a lot, and right here you see they're very aggressive towards that opening, but they don't actually like pour out, but they kind of just stand and guard their nest. So they got really scared, but yeah, so that tubing size did not end up being the right size. Here you see some Tarculants fluon that I got with nest that I got a while ago. I really like Fluon as an escape barrier, particularly since this escape barrier is going to have to be really thin, so it's going to have to be pretty strong. Otherwise, I usually use stuff like olive oil. When I apply Fluon, I like to use a cotton ball, and I move it in a circular motion all around the outer lip, or I should say inner lip in this case. And this nest does have a lid, so that's just for added security, and it does have basic window screen mesh, but Camponotus should be able to get through that. So right here you see me making my plans to connect the tubing to the outworld, but as you're about to see, when I take out the cotton plug in the nest, well, first of all, that worker blocks my way because she's right there and I'm afraid that she'd escape. In the end, not a single worker escaped. And then I connect the tubing, and I have to hold it there, and 2 workers run in, but the tubing just doesn't hold snugly to the nest. So I have to pull it out, and I plug the nest with cotton, and I'm going to plug the tubing with cotton in a second. So the ant in the outworld right now, which you see, I believe went on to actually be the first replete that drank from that biformica feeder. So now I'm testing a smaller size of tubing to see if maybe that fit, because that's another very common size in ant keeping. I don't remember exactly what the size is, but I plug it off with cotton, and I pull it out, and I put it in, and it is way too small, and I immediately plug back the nest. Like, it is loose in there, it's not even close to the right size. And at this point, I'm sort of starting to panic. Now, trying again, I hold the tube to the nest for a little longer this time. And I try and just wiggle it in there, but there's a lot of cracks in the nest, and I don't want to put a hole in it. So, at the end of the day, I kind of just lodge it up against there. And yeah, eventually I have to put some blue tack there. But right now I'm just really stressed, frozen, because I really don't want any workers to escape, and I don't know what I'm going to do with the workers that are going into the outworld, because I'm not going to be able to put them back in the nest. Well, it'll be hard, and so yeah, right now my mind was racing. So I make the bold decision to leave it as it is for just a couple seconds in a come on, you can leave it for a couple seconds to go grab some blue tack or something. Come on, man. You can leave it. You really you can leave it for a second. I swear, go grab some blue tack. You see me finally realize that I have to use some blue tack to seal that nest up, which was a pretty good idea because it actually held, and it's still holding, even though I have to probably remove the outworld soon because they're going into hibernation within the week. So I seal it up, and my hand blocks the view, but I prefer my aunt's safety over you guys seeing it. I'm sorry. But eventually I do manage to get her on, and you'll see that. But yeah. So here you can see a worker exploring, foraging in a replete that just shoved itself into that Biformica liquid feeder. Kudos to you for making them love it so much. Here's some workers telling the colony, and the colony is just in a commotion that they found new food because they haven't eaten in a while, and they are pretty stressed from shipping. Yeah, there's that replete that just shoved itself in there. And now it's decided to leave. It's full, and it can't find the tube. And it thinks it smells a worker, and it just walks away. And then it thinks it feels some intent on it, and it just walks away. And then it thinks, oh yeah, I found it now, and then just walks into a wall. And that other worker goes off to forage. And now that replete just keeps on pacing. It just can't figure this out. And I was kind of starting to get scared because I had a Chromioids colony which couldn't figure out how to get back home from an outworld. And finally it found its way home. And there's an ant playing dead. And this ant feeds it some. Replete feeds it some, and then it stops playing dead. So yeah. That was pretty funny. So now you see another replete that just jammed itself in there. And later I actually blew on it to see if it was alive, because it didn't move for like 5 minutes straight. It was crazy. And yeah, there's a lot of workers in that L connector. And here you can see that soldier, which it closed during shipping, and the queen taking an absolute power nap. Here's some footage that I took of just repletes going back and forth, and now you can see the colony is really getting food, and this is really great because then they'll have food stores for over the winter. And I won't have to feed them as much, and they're not gonna like die because they're super lazy and don't want to leave their nest. And here's some footage of the nest. Yeah, I think I'll take some footage tomorrow and see how they're doing. So I'm probably going to upload another video tomorrow about how the colony is doing now. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again next time. Later.